Hello, I'm Mike Bellamy, founder of PassageMaker Sourcing Solutions and a volunteer at the not-for-profit China Sourcing Information Center. I've been living in China full-time now for over 12 years, and it is my pleasure to offer this short video some tips about how to manage projects and ensure quality. Now, let's assume that you have followed the tips in our previous videos about verifying the suppliers in terms of quality systems. If you have issued a purchase order to a bad supplier because you failed to verify them up front, then no amount of even the world's best project management or world's most intense quality control is going to be able to turn that bad supplier into a great one. So if you find the right supplier early on, you have put yourself on the right path, and both project management and quality control will be much easier. In the United States and most Western countries perhaps, when the purchase order is placed with a domestic supplier back home, we sit back knowing the hard work is done and we just wait for the order to show up on time without a lot of drama. Well, China has some amazing pricing. It is not known for the excellent quality or short lead times. This means that the placement of the PO is the start of the supplier management process, not the end. It is very rare for suppliers, even ones that are as large as 1,000 employees, to have proper project management software which clearly defines and tracks who is doing what, when, within the organization. To the contrary, usually there is an account manager or salesperson that takes point on walking your project through all the steps from production to delivery. Sounds good, right? Well, not really, because salespeople are good at sales, or because they can speak English, they're the salesperson, but most of them aren't engineers. They're certainly not qualified project managers, or even know their way around a production line. So, faced with this dilemma, I'm going to offer some tips to help you ensure that your product ships out at the agreed time with the agreed quality. First, pick a factory that's the right size for your order. If you're a small buyer at a large factory, you'll find it very hard to keep their attention. Number two, make sure you communicate with the suppliers on a regular basis. If you aren't asking for updates, you are unlikely to receive them. Be in contact when there is good news to share so that you don't become the headache client who only contacts the factory when there's time to hit the fist on the table or give some bad news and negotiate some problems. This may sound obvious, but if you and your supplier don't have a system for project management, then you may need to be proactive and create one on your own. For example, a simple Excel spreadsheet listing action items, project gates, deadlines, responsible parties is a huge improvement over trying to manage things via email. Outlook is not a project management software. Now, have this open project list in front of you to serve as the agenda for periodic conference calls with your supplier. Once the tasks are mutually agreed, save this document for future reference. Keep a record of each week's agreed steps. Number 4, build into your budget the cost of a few international trips to the China factory to keep an eye on things and build a good working relationship face-to-face with your supplier. If you can't afford to travel on your own or don't want to make the long trip, then at least get an agent to represent you. But someone needs to build a relationship with the factory on your behalf. Now, if you only take away one of the tips from my entire video series, I hope you'll remember the following. Link your payments to performance, and that's tip number 5. Link your payments to performance. You are crazy to make the final payment to a supplier without inspecting the goods first with your own eyes or the eyes of a third party that works for you. See you next time, wishing you successful China sourcing.